Hello, this is my first part 3 video, so I hope you have been able to soldier through it and it hasn't been too much of a fight and that you're still surviving. And this is for Sigma 6, G.I. Joe Sigma 6 Cobra Mercenary Zartan. And we already went through the figure, we went through his weapons. Um, did want to point out, I don't think I showed this yet, that this is the machine gun or flamethrower or whatever, and you have to put these clips in a certain way because you can see, hopefully, that these are kind of puzzled. You know, there's a certain clip um, or groove or whatever right there, so it's not just a complete triangle, so you have to put them in the right way. And so that's them right there. And it's basically that they point backwards, you know. And they really do actually kind of fall out kind of easy. But I also think should anybody attempt to do a video, as I'm sure already some people have, because I've watched at least one uh, reviewer's videos, that a lot easier probably to talk about and play with these things or display these things than it is to actually try and film it and display them. So anyway, so I wanted to show you that, and then we'll go and show you what it looks like on the figure. And again, it's handy that he has the ports because there's no handle on this weapon. But again, all these little thoughts that pop in my head. Does that look like anybody kind of familiar? In my opinion, it kind of looks like Megatron. You know, he's pointing out his blaster or whatever. So maybe that's just me, but that's what he looks like with it. Then, well, I already showed you really with the crossbow with it. But we're going to show you, as everything flies around, what it looks like as a sword or knife or whatever. So he would technically have to get his hand more out of the way to use it, but you know, could you picture that? Somebody getting clawed with that? Ow. Um, so I'm not sure that because that's the thing with doing these videos, you kind of forget what you've said in the first part and second part, with it being a third part video. So I apologize if I've already said this, but maybe this is the order that you're watching it in, and so you haven't seen this part yet. So that's cool too. So with the ports right here, this one kind of hides it, but there is one there, and there's one there, and then there's one on each of his gauntlets here. Again, I don't ever worry too much about G.I. Joe because that's one reason why I collect G.I. Joe, but articulation, I'm not going to really get into that. Maybe someday I will, but it has no problem with these shoulder pads right here because they are on a hinge, so they go up. So I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, pretty much every Sigma 6 figure is going to have the same amount of articulation. Same thing with G.I. Joe. It just basically changes each time that they come with out with a different line. But I know that some reviewers and some yeah, some reviewers and some viewers need to know about that articulation part, but um, me so far with a G.I. Joe figure, most of the time you don't have to worry about articulation. I'm just kind of rambling on here. I'm not really going to talk any more about the figure because I'm pretty much done. But I have 10 minutes, so might as well go. But yeah, so you don't really have to worry about that. And I'm not knocking Star Wars collectors or anything like that, but that's one of the lines that I haven't really gotten into. I mean, I did a video where I showed a Star Wars figure, which I can't seem to find right now, but Star Wars is kind of getting a little better with articulation, but G.I. Joe, at least since the 80s, um, I've read that that's basically what they were trying to do to compete with Kenner, who had um, Star Wars at the time. So Hasbro came out with G.I. Joe, and to compete with Star Wars. And one of the things was they wanted the best articulation on GI Joe figures. So yeah, but so far no one's really complained about me not going into articulation. Doing the whole rotates here and what kind of articulation and everything. But it's really cool, the guys, and someday gals. Um, that show that articulation because it is important. That's one reason why I just can't get into Star Wars figures because, especially now that Hasbro owns, because they bought out Kenner. Hasbro now owns Star Wars figures and G.I. Joe, so I don't know. I've heard some people believe that G.I. Joe has the articulation that it has, and Star Wars doesn't because there's some older collectors of Star Wars figures that they grew up with that type of articulation, and sometimes they feel like it hurts the sculpt when they add too much articulation. But I'm kind of rambling on right now, and I don't know that anyone is still watching this, so thank you for at least any part of this video that you watched, and we will see you later. Alright, thank you. Bye.